Ambassador Lex T sat at her desk, staring at the official assignment document that glowed on her screen. The symbols kept dancing in front of her eyes. Earth. The word made her skin crawl. No, 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 she whispered, pressing her four hands together. Anyone but Earth. Her assistant, Takor, clicked his mandibles nervously. Ambassador, the Galactic Council has already approved your assignment. All preparations have been made. Lex stood up, her tall insectoid frame shaking. Have you read the reports? These humans are monsters. They eat burning chemicals for pleasure. They jump from high places with only a piece of cloth to save them. They live on a planet that actively tries to kill them. That's precisely why the Council chose you, Takor said gently. You have the most experience with difficult species. Difficult? Lex Th's voice rose several octaves. The Klarnak breathe methane. The vortex communicate through smell. Those are difficult. Humans are Deathworlders? She pointed at him. Exactly. And you know what the Council's first order was? All diplomats meeting humans must begin anxiety medication immediately. Immediately. Does that sound normal to you? Takor pulled up a holographic display. The medication is specifically designed for diplomatic encounters with Category 12 Deathworlders. It reduces panic responses by 78%, and I don't want statistics, LXTH interrupted. I want to understand why they're necessary. Shall I show you the human cultural database? Before Lex could answer, Takor activated the display. Images flickered across the room. Humans swimming with predators. Humans climbing mountains. Humans flying in metal death traps they called airplanes. Humans eating foods that steamed and bubbled. Lex felt her breathing quicken. Turn it off now. Ambassador, this is essential preparation. You need to. What I need is to see Dr. Vrix immediately. 20 minutes later, Lex sat in the medical bay. Dr. Vrix, a Glynthian, with multiple eyes scanned her vital signs. Your stress levels are already elevated, and you haven't even left the station yet. Can you blame me? I'm being sent to negotiate with beings who voluntarily set parts of their food on fire before eating it. Dr. Vrix pulled out a medical injector. This is the standard anti-anxiety medication for Deathworlder interactions. It will help maintain your composure when faced with unusual situations. Define unusual. Well, humans often use greetings that sound like threats. They shake hands, which involves grabbing each other's appendages. They smile by showing their teeth, which in most species indicates aggression. Lex closed her primary eyes. And I'm supposed to remember all this while medicated? The medication doesn't affect memory, only fear responses. You'll still experience concern, but it won't paralyze you. What if I refuse the assignment? Dr. Vrix looked at her patient charts. According to my records, you've turned down the last 3 difficult assignments. The Council is running out of patience. Lex TH extended her arm for the injection. Fine, but I want double the standard dose. That's not advisable for a first-time user. Neither is sending me to negotiate with beings who consider jumping out of aircraft a recreational activity. Dr. Vrix sighed and adjusted the dosage. You'll need to report here daily for the next 2 weeks before departure. We'll monitor your adjustment to the medication. As the medicine entered her system, Lex felt a slight dulling of her panic. Is there anything else I should know? Yes. Humans have a concept called dark humor. They often joke about death and injury. Try not to take it literally. Wonderful. Death jokes. What could possibly go wrong? Oh, and one more thing. Never ever let them know you're afraid of them. They find it amusing. Lex left the medical bay feeling slightly calmer, but no less worried. She had 2 weeks to prepare herself for the most dangerous assignment of her career. 2 weeks to learn how to function around beings who treated survival as a hobby. Back in her quarters, she activated her personal communicator. Computer, compile all available safety protocols for Earth diplomats. Compiling. Warning. File size. Exceed standard limits. How much information are we talking about? 4,367 separate protocols, Ambassador. Lex TH sat down heavily. Start from the beginning. I have a feeling I'll need every single one of them. The journey to Earth took 3 months aboard the Star Harmony, a diplomatic vessel designed for comfort and preparation. Lextia spent her days in the cultural education room, surrounded by screens showing human activities that made her medication work overtime. This is what they call a mountain bike, the educational program announced. On screen, a human rode a flimsy metal frame down a steep cliff, bouncing over rocks and through trees. Humans engage in this activity for entertainment. Lex pressed the emergency medication dispenser on her wrist. Entertainment. They risk death for fun. Her study sessions were interrupted daily by visits from Captain Kyle Roberts, the ship's physician. He was one of only 3 humans aboard, serving as the ship's medical expert on Deathworlder biology. Ambassador, Kyle said, entering her quarters, I've noticed you're using more medication than prescribed. I'm studying your species. Every video requires medical intervention. Lex TH gestured to the screens. This morning I watched humans eat something called hot wings. The food was covered in a substance that makes them sweat and cry, yet they continued eating. Kyle laughed, a sound that still made Alex flinch. Buffalo wings, those are pretty mild. Wait until you try our really spicy food. Mild? Lex's voice cracked. Your species willingly consumes poison. We don't see it that way, besides you haven't seen the good stuff yet. Kyle typed something into the educational system. Let me show you extreme sports. The screen filled with humans jumping off cliffs, bridges and buildings. Some had parachutes. Some had nothing but stretchy cords tied to their ankles. They're falling on purpose? Lextige asked weakly. Bungee jumping and skydiving. Very popular weekend activities. Kyle's eyes lit up with enthusiasm. I used to go skydiving every Sunday back home. There's nothing like it. Lex pressed her medication dispenser 3 times. Every Sunday. You risked death every week for pleasure. Not risked. Enjoyed. Big difference. That night Lex couldn't sleep. Her mind kept replaying the videos. Humans wrestling alligators, swimming in cages with sharks, and something called parkour where they jumped between buildings and cities. The next day, Kyle found her in the cultural room again. This time, the screen showed humans dancing around large fires at night. Ah, music festivals, Kyle said. I miss those. Nothing like dancing until dawn. Your species gathers in large numbers around uncontrolled flames? Lex asked. At night? Where your vision is impaired? Well, yeah. It's part of the experience. Lex made a note in her diplomatic preparation journal. Note, humans find danger, part of the experience. Possible death wish? Kyle read over her shoulder. Death wish? No way. We just don't let fear stop us from living. But everything on your planet wants to kill you. That's what makes it exciting. Kyle pulled up a chair. Let me tell you about Australia. It's one of our continents. The spiders there are bigger than your hand. The snakes have venom that can kill in minutes, and the ocean has creatures with stingers that cause pain, so bad people wish they were dead. And humans live there willingly? Millions of them. They love it. Lex TH increased her medication again. Love it, of course they do. Over the following weeks, Kyle became her unofficial guide to human psychology. He explained concepts that baffled her completely. You have something called adrenaline junkies? Lex asked one day. People who crave the rush of dangerous activities. It's actually brain chemistry. The excitement releases chemicals that make you feel good. So humans become addicted to almost dying. When you put it that way. Kyle scratched his head. I guess it sounds pretty crazy. Finally, you see reason. But wait until you see what we do for fun at diplomatic parties. Ever heard of karaoke? Lex made another mental note. Investigate karaoke. Possible alien influence on human sanity. 2 weeks before reaching Earth, Kyle decided Lex needed practical preparation. You can't just watch videos. You need to experience human culture. He led her to the ship's recreation room where he'd set up a mild human experience. This is a video game. You use a controller to interact with a virtual world. The game was a racing simulation. This doesn't seem too dangerous, Lex admitted. Oh, I start you on easy mode. But humans play these for hours, often while talking to friends across the galaxy and eating snacks. Multitasking while controlling high-speed vehicles? Exactly. Now let's try multiplayer mode. I'll introduce you to some of the crew. Soon Lex was racing against 3 other crew members. They chatted casually while driving virtual cars at impossible speeds. So, Ambassador, said one crew member, excited to visit Earth? I'm from Colorado myself. Great skiing there if you visit in winter. Skiing? Lex TH asked, trying to keep her virtual car on the track. Sliding down mountains on boards or skis. Super fun. Lex TH's car crashed into a wall. Down mountains on purpose for fun. Kyle patted her back. You're getting the hang of human culture already. By the time they reached Mars's orbit, 2 weeks from Earth, Lex had worked her way up to riding the simulated roller coaster. It still required medication, but she could complete the entire ride without fainting. Progress, Kyle declared. You might actually survive meeting Earth Dipl. Lex strapped herself into the diplomatic shuttle with 6 safety belts. Standard protocol required 2, but she'd requisitioned extras from ship supplies. Her medication levels were at maximum safe dosage, and her breathing regulator hummed quietly as it pumped calming scents into her personal air bubble. Entering Earth orbit, announced the shuttle's AI. Preparing for atmospheric entry at standard diplomatic velocity, 2% of typical human aircraft speed. Lex T's 4 hands gripped the armrests. 2%? That's still very fast for a diplomatic vessel. Actually, Ambassador, the AI continued, human air traffic control has requested we increase speed. They say we're, quote, crawling like a Sunday driver in a school zone. Lexter made a choking sound. Crawling? We're traveling at speeds that would be considered reckless on 17 different civilized worlds. The communication panel lit up. Earth Shuttle Orbital Harmony, this is United Air Traffic Control. Agent Michelle Davis speaking. Do you folks need a push? My grandmother drives faster to her weekly brunch. Takor, serving as Alexth's assistant on this trip, translated the human sarcasm. The traffic controller is expressing concern about our slow velocity. I understand that, Lex hissed. Ask her if she has any idea how many separate organs I have that could shift during atmospheric entry. Takor relayed the message more diplomatically. Michelle's cheerful response came through speakers. Shuttle Orbital Harmony, our fastest diplomatic. Entry on record was the Arcturian ambassador last month. Came in at 12% standard velocity. Didn't lose a single organ. Well, not permanently anyway. Lex TH felt her medication working hard to keep her panic levels manageable. What happened to their organs? Oh, they just shifted back after a week in Earth gravity. Proud moment for our ambassador care unit. You'll love our medical staff if anything goes wrong. If anything goes wrong? No worries. Weekly safety meeting this month had 0 serious incidents. Well, unless you count Jimmy from maintenance getting his 3rd concussion this year. But that's just Jimmy being Jimmy. The shuttle entered Earth's atmosphere. Through the viewport, Lex watched the planet's strange blue surface grow larger. Streaks of fire danced across protective shields. This is completely insane, she muttered. No civilized species enters atmosphere at these speeds. Ambassador, Takor said quietly, should I activate the emergency medical protocols? They're already active, and increase my medication dosage to emergency levels. The shuttle began to shake. Through the speakers, Michelle continued her casual commentary. Looking good, Orbital Harmony. Smooth as my morning coffee. Speaking of which, wait until you try our coffee. Strong enough to wake the dead. Or in your case, maybe put you to sleep. Are all Earth controllers this relaxed? Lex asked. Only on Mondays. Weekends were usually hungover. The shaking increased. Lex Tier's breathing accelerated despite the calming systems. Almost through the rough part, Michelle announced, switching to approach control. You folks have fun down there. Don't let Patricia scare you too much. She's been extra weird since that incident with the vacuum chamber. Incident? What incident? Static filled the channel as they transferred. Control. Shuttle orbital harmony, this is New York approach. Ambassador Patricia Brooks is waiting at the landing facility. The new voice was crisp and professional. Current temperature on surface is 78 degrees Fahrenheit, with 80% humidity. Perfect weather for first-time visitors. What's humidity? Lex asked Tikor. Water particles suspended in the air, Ambassador. They have water in their air, and they breathe it? Apparently, they consider it comfortable. The shuttle descended through thick clouds that further terrified LX. We're flying blind through condensed water vapor? Standard human weather patterns, Ambassador. Our scans show only minor turbulence ahead. Turbulence? Lex TH's voice hit frequencies that hurt even her own hearing organs. Just air pockets. Nothing to worry about. Humans fly through worse daily for breakfast meetings. Through the clouds, a massive urban landscape appeared. Buildings reached impossible heights. Flying vehicles moved in chaotic patterns that violated every traffic. Control principle Lex knew. The humans are operating aircraft in that mess? She gasped. Those are just personal air vehicles called helicopters, the AI explained. They're considered quite safe by human standards. Personal aircraft? Every citizen can fly? Only licensed operators. There are strict regulations. A minor accident occurs only once every 200,000 flight hours. Lex TH pressed her medication dispenser frantically. Once every 200,000 hours. That's practically constant. The landing facility grew larger in the viewport. On the concrete platform, a solitary figure waited. Even from this distance, Lex could see the human wore what appeared to be protective eyewear. Why is Ambassador Brooks wearing eye protection indoors? Lex asked. Those are called sunglasses, Tikor explained. Humans sometimes wear them for fashion rather than protection. Fashion? During a formal diplomatic meeting? Human diplomatic? Culture has many informal elements. The shuttle touched down with barely a bump. Through the window, Lex saw Ambassador Brooks lower her sunglasses and wave. This casual, friendly gesture somehow made the human seem even more alien than the videos had prepared her for. Ambassador, Tikor said gently, we've arrived safely. Time to meet your human counterpart. Lex TH unstrapped herself with all 6 safety belts. Her legs wobbled despite artificial gravity maintaining consistency. How do they act so calm? We just fell through an atmosphere at deadly speeds, trusting our lives to protective shields and air control computers. Perhaps, Tikor suggested, carefully, they genuinely don't find it dangerous. That's what worries me. We haven't even left the landing pad and they've already normalized falling from space. The shuttle door opened with a hiss. Earth's atmosphere rushed in, carrying scents of industrial chemicals, vegetation, and something else Lex couldn't identify. The humidity felt like swimming through invisible soup. Ambassador Patricia Brooks approached with long, casual strides. She'd put her sunglasses back on top of her head, revealing what passed for diplomatic attire. A simple dark suit that looked far too thin for protection from this planet's many dangers. Ambassador Laxth, Patricia said, extending one hand in the traditional human greeting. Welcome to Earth. Hope the descent wasn't too rough. Sometimes I forget how scary atmospheric entry is for newcomers. My first time skydiving, I was terrified too. Lex T stared at the extended hand, remembering her crash course in human customs. This gesture required her to grab the human's appendage and shake it. She pressed her medication dispenser one more time before reaching out with one trembling hand. Humans touched each other so casually. They grabbed hands with people they just met. The contact was warm and firm. Patricia shook 3 times, then released, exactly as the training videos had shown. See? Patricia smiled broadly, displaying every one of her omnivorous teeth. Nothing to it, now come on. We've got quite a schedule ahead. Traffic's light today, so we can make it to the embassy in 45 minutes instead of the usual hour. XTH processed this statement. 45 minutes was the optimistic estimate. How far was this embassy? The drive to the embassy will be, she started, about 32 miles downtown. Piece of cake unless there's an accident on the bridge. Lextius, mine supplied statistics about human automobile accidents, daily occurrences, Regular fatalities, yet they spoke of it like weather. She pressed her medication dispenser one final time before following the human to the waiting vehicle. Only day 1 of Earth exposure. How would she ever survive this assignment? The ride to the embassy passed, in a terrifying blur. Patricia drove the vehicle with one hand while gesturing casually with the other, completely ignoring Lexi's 4 hands gripping every available surface inside the car. Traffic's not bad today, Patricia observed, swerving past another vehicle at what seemed like suicide speeds. Must be because it's only Monday. Lex watched in horror as humans operated death machines while drinking liquid from portable containers and manipulating portable communication devices. Do they always do this many things while controlling vehicles? Multitasking is pretty normal here. My dad used to shave while driving to work every morning. Shave? While moving? Sure. Had to look good for meetings. Never had an accident either. LXTH felt her medication wearing thin. She pressed the dispenser again, noting she'd used today's max dosage in the first 2 hours. The embassy building loomed ahead, a massive structure that Patricia navigated toward with casual disregard for the painted lines on the ground. Here we are, Patricia announced, pulling into a parking space that seemed 2 sizes too small. Come on, everyone's excited to meet you. Inside the embassy, the sensory assault continued. Bright lights, strange smells, and the constant noise of humans talking, laughing, and moving around without concern for personal space bubbles. Director Walsh is waiting in the dining room, Patricia explained, leading Lex through corridors lined with artwork that somehow seemed to depict humans doing dangerous activities for decoration. Director Daniel Walsh stood at the head of a long table covered with dishes that steamed and smoked. A tall man with graying hair, he wore a suit that seemed far too formal for safety in this environment. Ambassador Laxth, Daniel said, approaching with the same H. The next morning, Patricia walked Laxth to the embassy security office. The alien ambassador had spent the night researching Earth's natural disasters after overhearing humans casually mention something called a tornado warning. Don't worry about the weapons detectors, Patricia said as they passed through multiple security checkpoints. They're calibrated for human threats, won't even notice your natural defenses. I don't have natural weapons, Lex corrected. My species evolved, past physical conflict. Right, forgot. You guys are all about peace and stuff. Patricia paused at a heavy door. Lieutenant Cole is waiting inside. She handles Earth security protocols for visiting diplomats. Security protocols seem extensive, Lex observed, noting the 7th scan station they'd passed. Well, yeah, can't be too careful. We've had some incidents. Incidents? Nothing major, just some misunderstandings about Earth's recreational hazards versus actual threats. The security office door opened to reveal Lieutenant Amanda Cole, a compact human woman with arms covered in what Lexi's translator identified as decorative scarring called tattoos. Ambassador Lex, Amanda said briskly. Welcome. I'm here to brief you on Earth's basic safety precautions. Basic? LXTH felt her antennae twitch. By now she recognized that basic in human terms often meant potentially lethal to other species. Amanda activated a holographic display. First, environmental threats. Earth experiences regular weather phenomena that might be unfamiliar to visitors. The display showed a massive funnel of destruction tearing through a populated area. This is a tornado, Amanda explained. Wind speeds up to 300 miles per hour. We get about 1/200 per year. LexTH's breathing apparatus stuttered. 1/200 destructive events per year? Oh, that's just tornadoes. We also have hurricanes, earthquakes, tsunamis, and volcanic activity. Volcanoes? LexTH's voice rose several octaves. You have mountains that explode? Well, they don't explode exactly. More like violently release molten rock and toxic gases. LexTH gripped her medication dispenser. And humans live near these? Live near them? Some of the best tourist spots are around dormant volcanoes, great hiking trails, hiking near potentially explosive mountains. They're usually dormant. Usually. Amanda continued the briefing, each revelation worse than the last. Now for wildlife concerns. The display switched to show creatures that seemed designed in nightmare laboratories. Sharks, bears, poisonous snakes, and something called a box jellyfish. This little guy, Amanda pointed to a translucent creature, has enough venom to kill 60 adult humans. Good news is they're only in Australia. Bad news? Australia has about 20 other things that can kill you. But don't worry, locals are pretty good at avoiding most of them. Most? Can't avoid everything, that's where the fun is. Lex TH pressed her dispenser again. You find deadly animals fun? Some people do. We have this thing called nature photography, where people get close to dangerous animals for pictures. The display showed humans swimming with sharks, standing next to grizzly bears and handling snakes that could apparently kill with a single bite. This is insane, Lex muttered. No, this is Tuesday. Now let's talk about personal safety equipment. Amanda produced a folding knife from her pocket. The blade snapped open with a metallic sound that made Lex jump. This is an everyday carry item. I use it for opening packages, cutting fruit, emergency situations. Most Americans carry something similar. Most Americans carry weapons? Tools. We consider them tools. Tools that can harm? Well, yeah, but that's secondary function. Primary is utility. Amanda demonstrated various uses of the knife while Lex tried to process how humans considered sharp blades utility items. For visiting diplomats, we provide special safety equipment. Amanda opened a drawer and produced a vest covered in reflective materials and electronics. This is our diplomatic protection vest. GPS tracking, emergency beacon, automatic medical alert system. For threats from armed humans? Actually, it's for getting lost or injured during natural disasters. Human weapons are rarely used against diplomats. Natural phenomena and accidents are more common concerns. Lex T examined the vest. How often do diplomats require these? Every 6 months or so. Last incident was when the Japanese ambassador got caught in a flash flood during a camping trip. Vest saved his life. Flash flood? During camping? Camping is recreational, yes? Very popular. Gets people out of the city, into nature, away from stress. Nature that contains floods, wildlife, and explosive mountains. Yeah, but that's part of the appeal. City stress versus nature's excitement. Different kinds of challenges. Amanda moved to another display showing human emergency statistics. Now regarding human emergency medicine. We'll tour the medical facility later, but here are some basics. The screen filled with numbers that made Lex's multiple hearts race. Average human experiences 3 emergency room visits in their lifetime. Sports injuries are most common, followed by routine accidents. Routine accidents? Tripping, cuts from cooking mishaps, minor burns from coffee or cooking food, nothing serious usually. Nothing serious? Your coffee burns people? 3rd-degree burns are rare, usually just 1st or 2nd degree. We've all got scars. Amanda rolled up her sleeve to show various marks on her skin. This one's from a motorcycle accident when I was younger. This one's from a kitchen mishap with flaming dessert. And this is from my 7th birthday when I tried to touch a cactus. You touch dangerous plants as children? Kids touch everything. It's how we learn. Don't touch that usually results in touching it. Lexteach made frantic notes in her diplomatic pad. Earth children deliberately ignore safety warnings. Wouldn't call it deliberate, more like scientifically curious. And adults accept this, part of growing up. Experience teaches better than warnings, usually, sometimes. After a few mishaps, the briefing continued with increasingly disturbing revelations. Human drivers considered minor vehicle collisions acceptable risks. Home improvement projects regularly resulted in hospital visits. And something called parkour combined running and jumping with urban architecture in ways that violated every safety protocol Lextea knew. One final item, Amanda said, pulling up statistics for embassy incidents. Since opening this facility, we've had 47 minor injuries to staff, 12 major injuries, and 3 near-death experiences. All were classified as learning opportunities. Learning opportunities? Galactic first aid training usually, cultural misunderstandings, about danger levels, stuff like that. No permanent damage. Lex T's medication alert chimed empty. I need to refill my medication now. Of course, we keep extra human interaction meds in the embassy pharmacy. Dr. Walsh mentioned you might go through supplies faster than projected. This was just the security briefing, Lex said weakly. You haven't even mentioned human military capabilities. Amanda grinned, showing far too many teeth. That's tomorrow's briefing. But don't worry. We don't usually demonstrate the weapons. Systems to first-time diplomats. Usually? Only if they ask. LXTH made a note to never ever ask. Back in the medical wing, T-Core helped refill her medication, while Lex processed the morning's information. Ambassador, your consumption rates suggest Earth exposure is more stressful than our projections. There, security officer showed me pictures of humans touching cactus plants for science. Their children purposefully violate safety warnings. Their entertainment includes jumping off solid objects while attached to elastic cords. Shall I request a psychiatric consultation? No, the medication is working. I'm just adjusting to a species that treats survival as a recreational activity. T-Core prepared the necessary paperwork. Tomorrow's schedule shows a tour of the embassy grounds and introduction to human staff. And the military briefing? Scheduled for day after tomorrow. LXTH pressed the refilled medication dispenser. I should start taking double doses now. Build up reserves. Dr. Vrix specifically warned against overdosing prior to military demonstrations. That's because Dr. Vrix has never met humans who consider Bear Country a camping destination. LXTH looked out the window at the embassy courtyard where humans jogged in the morning heat. One group was playing some kind of ball sport that involved violent collisions. Another group practiced what appeared to be combat for exercise. Her first week on Earth had taught her one vital lesson. The Galactic Council hadn't required nearly enough medication for this assignment. She pressed her dispenser one more time and prepared for whatever fresh horrors tomorrow would bring. Day 3 began with what humans called a cultural exchange tour. LXTH sat in the embassy's autonomous vehicle as Patricia mapped out their route through the city. First stop is Central Park, Patricia announced cheerfully. Great example of human green space management. Managed nature sounds much safer than wild nature, Lex observed, privately hoping for some relief from Earth's constant danger parade. The vehicle navigated streets filled with human-operated vehicles, bicycles, and pedestrians who seemed to cross roads based on instinct rather than proper traffic patterns. LXTH gripped the safety handles throughout the journey. Central Park turned out to be a massive area of compressed chaos. Humans jogged, played sports, rode unusual wheeled devices, and fed aggressive birds called pigeons that showed no fear of the much larger creatures. This is nice, Lex admitted, beginning to relax slightly. The morning of the treaty negotiations arrived too quickly. LXTH had spent the night reviewing diplomatic protocols and consuming extra medication to prepare for the formal proceedings. Her notes on human behavior now filled 3 separate data crystals, each marked with caution symbols. Ready for the big day? Patricia asked, meeting Lex in the embassy's secure conference room. Today we officially request Earth's observer status in the Galactic Council. Yes, I've reviewed the documents. LXTH glanced at the massive round table where the human delegation waited. Director Walsh was present, along with several officials she hadn't met before. Where will other galactic representatives join from? They're already here, in the medical ward. The medical ward? Standard protocol these days. All visiting ambassadors receive treatment before human negotiations. The Galactic Council approved it last year after the incidents with the Zorganian delegation. LXT's antennae twitched. What happened to the Zorgan ambassador? Nothing. Terrible. Just some fainting, mild heart palpitations, and temporary paralysis when we mentioned our nuclear testing history. Dr. Walsh says they're almost ready to join us. 20 minutes later, 3 heavily sedated alien ambassadors entered the conference room. The Zorganian looked like a large crystalline formation barely able to maintain cohesion. The Krivak ambassador resembled a floating gas cloud constantly, shrinking in on itself. The Threxian ambassador appeared to be a sentient plant purposefully wilting. Ambassador Lex, the Zorganian wheezed, We are privileged to witness Earth's request for observer status. Please forgive our medicinal state. No forgiveness necessary, Lex assured them. I understand completely. Rachel Thompson, Earth's lead negotiator, stood to begin. A woman in her early 40s with graying hair, she carried herself with the casual confidence Lex had learned was characteristic of her species. Honored representatives, Rachel began. Earth officially requests observer status within the Galactic Council. We believe we can offer unique perspectives to galactic diplomacy. Unique, the Threxian ambassador whispered, their leaves rustling weakly. Indeed, we've prepared a comprehensive presentation about Earth's potential contributions, Rachel continued, gesturing to the holographic projector. The first slide appeared. Human resilience training. As you know, Earth is classified as a Class 12 death world. What many don't realize is that our challenging environment has gifted us with remarkable adaptation abilities. Images filled the air. Humans performing emergency procedures. Human medical response to disasters. Human crisis management. Protocols. We've developed techniques that could benefit the Council. Our emergency medicine alone has applications across species. The Krevak ambassadors shuddered, their gaseous form rippling. Your emergency medicine involves intentionally stopping hearts to restart them better. Sometimes necessary for survival, Rachel explained cheerfully. Intentionally stopping hearts? The crystalline Zorganian cracked slightly with stress. We call it cardioversion. Very useful technique. Saved millions of lives. Lex TH watched the other ambassadors consume additional medication through various ingestion methods. She joined them, pressing her dispenser 3 times. Moving on, Rachel switched slides. Earth's technological contributions could assist with Galactic Council infrastructure. The next images showed human construction projects, skyscrapers, bridges, tunnels through mountains. Our engineers work in extreme conditions regularly. Temperature ranges from -70 to +140 degrees Fahrenheit. We have buildings that survive earthquakes, bridges that withstand tornadoes. Your structures must resist regular natural disasters? The Threxian asked weakly. Oh yes. We design for worst-case scenarios. Usually involves something breaking, catching fire, and being underwater simultaneously. The ambassadors exchanged looks of medical alert-level concern. Our military technology, Rachel continued, though primarily defensive, showcases unique human problem-solving. A slide appeared showing various human weapons. The other ambassadors physically recoiled. We've developed precision weapons with safety features. This prevents accidental annihilation of uninvolved parties. You need safety features on your annihilation devices? The Krivak wheezed. Everyone makes mistakes. Important to minimize collateral damage. Rachel clicked to the next slide. Human space exploration. Our space program operates with calculated risk acceptance. We've landed on our moon using computers less powerful than current pocket calculators. Pocket calculators? Lex TH prompted. Small computing devices. We use them for basic math now. But we went to space with less computing power. Shows human determination. The ambassadors stared in what appeared to be medicated horror. We've also sent probes beyond our solar system using gravity assists, essentially falling toward massive objects to gain speed. You intentionally fall toward planets? The Threxian asked. With careful calculations, yes. Works great. Rachel moved to her conclusion. Earth's observer status would bring our unique problem-solving capabilities to Council decisions. Where others see obstacles, we see engineering challenges. Director Walsh stood to add final points. Our diplomatic corps understands cultural sensitivity. All human diplomats undergo extensive training in galactic customs. What about human customs? Lex TH found herself asking. Are other species adequately prepared for Earth? That's what the medication requirements address, Walsh replied. Though, we're working on a more comprehensive orientation program. Rachel presented the official treaty documents. Earth requests observer status with standard privileges. We accept all current Council regulations and safety protocols. The Zorganian ambassador crystalline form resonated slightly. Your request is reasonable, subject to proper medical guarantees for visiting diplomats. Of course, we've updated our diplomatic medical facilities based on feedback from previous visitors. Previous visitors? The Krivak asked nervously. 10 other species have visited officially. 9 required extended medical care afterward, but all recovered eventually. The 10th? Oh, they adapted quickly. Turned out their homeworld had similar characteristics. They invited us for diplomatic exchanges. Which species was this? Rachel smiled. The Cathari, warfare enthusiast species. They found Earth pleasantly challenging. Lex pressed her medication dispenser again. Of course, humans formed alliances with warrior species. After 2 hours of detailed discussion, amendments, and frequent medical breaks, the treaty was ready for signing. Each ambassador approached the ceremonial table with various degrees of chemical assistance. As Lex pressed her seal to the document, she realized she'd accomplished the impossible, successfully negotiating with humans while maintaining medical stability. The medication had worked. The training had helped. She'd survived. Congratulations, Patricia whispered. Not everyone makes it through their first human treaty signing. I'm beginning to understand why, Lex whispered back. The treaty was official. Earth would join as observers. The Galactic Council had gained new members who considered jumping off solid objects a recreational activity. As the ceremony concluded, Rachel approached Alex personally. Thank you for your patience with our species. We know we're different. Different is an understatement, Lex admitted. But perhaps the Council needs different. Your resilience is remarkable, if terrifying. We try to tone down the terrifying parts for diplomacy. I appreciate the effort. As the other ambassadors were escorted to extended medical care, Lextish realized her diplomatic tour was nearing its end. She'd witnessed human culture, survived human cuisine, experienced human recreation, and now completed human treaties. The Galactic Council would never be the same. Perhaps that was exactly what the galaxy needed, a species that looked at universal dangers and asked, how can we make this fun? Her medication dispenser chimed empty. Again. She'd need to submit an expense report for the overtime usage. But first, one final diplomatic reception remained. Patricia had mentioned something about humans teaching her how to play poker. Lex pressed the emergency refill button on her dispenser. After everything she'd experienced, card games seemed almost safe. Almost. The final reception took place in the embassy's main hall. Lexti stood among fellow diplomats, sipping a mild beverage that humans promised was completely safe for all species. After 5 days on Earth, she'd learned to question such assurances. Patricia approached with a wrapped package. Ambassador Lexti, we have a parting gift for your service. Lexi carefully unwrapped the box. Inside lay 2 items, a bottle labeled aspirin and a small foam sphere. Painkiller and a stress ball, Patricia explained. Essential Earth survival. Tools. Stress ball. You squeeze it when tensions run high. Helps release anxiety. Lex TH squeezed the foam sphere experimentally. It compressed and expanded. The simple mechanical action actually felt soothing. She'd been squeezing her medication dispenser at 10 times this frequency for days. Dr. Emma Wilson, the embassy's visiting physician, joined them. How's your medication holding up, Ambassador? I've consumed 3 months' supply in 5 days. Emma chuckled. Standard for first-time Earth diplomats. We're working on more efficient medication delivery systems. Systems that don't require hourly doses? Maybe daily. Baby steps. The other alien ambassadors approached, each looking more exhausted than terrified for the F.